I know that Smash Bros. Ultimate is right around the corner and we're getting constant updates on the website, so it may seem pointless for me to make a third part of this. I actually had no intention to make another predicting video for Smash Bros, but I come up with even more ideas I have to talk about, so get ready to watch me make more unlikely predictions for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Unsurprisingly, I thought of other characters I think could work well as fighters. I feel like my ideas this time around are much more realistic than in the last two videos, but you'll still see a few that have a rarer chance of being playable than finding a shiny Chansey. With Pokerus. They've been promoting villains much more than they have before. Not only were Ridley and King K. Rool at it, but during K. Rool's trailer they showed how every fighter of the original cast had their own rival. Except that isn't true at all. 3 still don't have one, and I want to share who I think would fit for them. For Yoshi, I'm gonna guess Kamek. I guess you could say Bowser's his rival, but I want someone who's from his series, and Kamek was kind of the main villain of Yoshi's Island. They'd probably have to get a little creative with his moveset, because outside of magic I don't know what he could use, but you can blame them more on the fact that I barely played Yoshi's Island. There are probably better choices for this role, but I don't care. I just want Yoshi to get more respect. I mean, he's the only one out of the starting 8 to not get a newcomer from his series, and Nintendo hasn't said anything about that Yoshi game in ages. But if you thought Yoshi didn't get enough love, then look at F-Zero. There hasn't been a new game in 14 years. I have even less to say about this because the most I played of F-Zero is Den 1 Brawl, but that doesn't mean I can't predict who the lad for Captain Falcon's rival. Black Shadow seems to be the main villain of the F-Zero series, but correct me if I'm wrong. They'll probably have to make an entirely original moveset for him since there isn't much you can take from a racing game, but if they did it once, they can do it twice. Even if he's an Echo Fighter, that's fine. Last but not least, or at least for villainous characters, is Ness's enemy, Porky. Because I'm obsessed with Earthbound for whatever reason, I have a lot to say here. I genuinely think Porky would work great as a fighter. Out of all the other characters I've thought of, Porky would be the best choice in my opinion. I think he'd be in a spider-like mecha, kind of like how Bowser Jr. is always in his clown car. I'm not sure if he'd be in his Earthbound mech or his Mother 3 mech, but the Earthbound one would probably fit better. He could use attacks similar to those from his boss fight in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, like shooting out missiles or commanding Porky Boss to attack. Maybe throw in some other attacks from Mother 2 and Mother 3. Okay, Porky Bot, are you happy? As crazy as this may sound, I'm not even done with Mother representatives. Actually, that's pretty normal for me. Duster would make a ton of sense if they don't go with Porky. He doesn't even show up in Lucas's final Smash, and I'd like to see one Mother character who isn't a PSI user. Duster's main attacks can be based around his thief tools from Mother 3, like the Wall Staple, Smoke Bomb, and Hypno Pendulum. The only problem I could see is that Lucas has Duster's Rope Snake, but they could be like Drake Bell and find a way around that, right? And finally, we're at the Masked Man, the last Mother character I think could work in Smash Bros. Well, maybe not last, I just need to limit myself a little. I don't think he'd be a full-fledged character, though. He'd probably just be an Echo Fighter for Lucas. I mean, Klaus is technically already in Smash Bros, but it'd be cool to see the Masked Man playable. The only way I could see them changing things up from Lucas is having him utilize his electric sword and arm cannon, but he'd probably stay the exact same if we made it in. He'd also be more hasty, but that's all. You know, everyone complains about how many Fire Emblem characters there are, but look at the selection of Zelda characters. Link, Young Link, and Toon Link are basically the same. So I think we need another Zelda representative, and I'm gonna guess Skull Kid. He's a very popular choice and he wasn't shown off as an assist trophy. Instead, the Moon stole that role, which most likely means they're doing something else with Skull Kid. Not to mention all these subtle hints that Skull Kid could be playable. I don't know what his moveset could be like because, to be honest, I've played very little of Majora's Mask. Please don't kill me, Zelda fans. But there are definitely ways to make him work. I know this will never happen, but I want Klonoa in. He's both a dream character figuratively and literally. Klonoa needs more attention because his franchise is one of the most overlooked in existence, and Bandai Namco is working on Ultimate so there's still a chance, and Klonoa's the GOAT, don't at me. His main method of attacking would of course be the Wind Bullet. Maybe he wouldn't use it to inflate the other fighters though. He could use this in a variety of ways, kind of like how Sonic's special attacks are all based around the Spin Dash. He could also use moves inspired by Klonoa heroes. But the point is, Klonoa deserves some role in Smash Bros. Even if he's just an assist trophy, which is more likely to be honest. Just put him in, Bandai Namco. You're neglecting him more than Nintendo neglects Mother 3. This is a very cliche prediction, but I want Shadow. Specifically as an Echo Fighter for Sonic, but everyone agrees with that. Just like Skull Kid, Shadow lost the role of an assist trophy for another character, in this case Knuckles. A lot of people speculate this means Shadow could be playable. Heck, there's space next to Sonic on the mural. Oh, and if he does win, he better say, "This is the ultimate I couldn't think of any new ideas for stages unfortunately, so I thought of a couple returning stage ideas. But don't be fooled, because these are pretty unique picks. Imagine how awesome it would be if Meta Crystal was selectable. For the unaware, this stage was Metal Mario's in Smash 64, and it wasn't playable by normal means. So if you could fight on it like a regular match in the new game, it would be insane. Besides, the other missing 64 stages I don't see reappearing anymore, since there's a better version of them in the newer Smash games. At first, I was thinking that Final Destination from 64 should appear as a sort of callback, but I have an even better idea. What if it were a mix-up between every Final Destination stage in the series? Of course, they all have the same layout, but I think it would be a pretty neat idea. Battlefield might be better for this, but either would be fine. I don't know why it took me this long to discuss assist trophies, but here we are now. These are characters I thought would be good fighters at first, but now I think would work better for, well, assisting the player. If Kamek doesn't make it into Smash Bros, they should at least include Poochie. Poochie may not be Vaporeon, but he's still a good boy. Players could ride on Poochie and be temporarily protected from hazards. In the Yoshi games, he did only protect Yoshi from ground hazards, but I think he should be fleshed out more since on certain stages he'd be completely useless. While I don't see any other Donkey Kong characters becoming fighters now that we have King K. Rool, I feel like Funky Kong could work as an assist trophy. How would he assist the player? Well, maybe something like the original DKC trilogy. In those games, he offered you a vehicle to travel the overworld, so in Ultimate, he could probably use these to attack the opponents. Or, who knows, maybe he'd function like Funky Mode and grant you invincibility for the rest of the match. What the heck, why didn't they advertise this on the box art? As pretty much everyone who saw the Smash Direct back in August knows, one of the modes featured on the menu is pixelated out. But you should never pixelate something to hide it, because leakers discovered that it said spirits. This could possibly be an adventure mode, and it would explain why Mario, Luigi, and Mega Man were killed in those character trailers. Of course, this isn't confirmed by Nintendo, and for all we know it's actually a sequel to Smash Tour, but I'll be sharing some ideas I have for this. What if you could use your amiibo to fight alongside you? Imagine being able to scan a Smash Bros. Amiibo and having it act like a second player of sorts. I think they should also make it so that your amiibo will level up in this mode. Not only does that add character development, but it also saves a ton of time. In Brawl's Adventure Mode, the Subspace Emissary, you could attach stickers to your character so they'll be stronger in certain attributes while fighting, like launch resistance or more powerful attacks. Smash 4 technically brought this back with the custom fighter, since you could add up to 3 badges based off speed, attack, and defense. I don't know which system they'd adapt for the Adventure Mode, they may just create a new one entirely, but if they were to reuse one, Smash 4 has a better of the two in my opinion. This is pretty much a given, but I hope every fighter in the game will be featured in the story. In Brawl 3, the characters were missing: Wolf, Jigglypuff, and Toon Link. I understand why it was the case. Those 3 weren't even planned to be in Brawl to begin with, but they were thrown in when the game got delayed, and you can still recruit them as hidden fighters after finishing the story. I do think a couple fighters being hidden away would be cool, but they should still play a role if you unlock them. Another really cool thing about Subspace Emissary was that you could take alternate paths. Well, not exactly. It was just certain fighters you could choose to rescue or play as before others. For example, when you fight PD Piranha, you can save either Peach or Zelda, with one you save joining you while the other is kidnapped. But instead of only this in Spirits, I think entire branching paths would be cool. Imagine if you had to decide between one path or the other, and it can change what fighters you unlock and what events will happen. It would add even more replay value, since not every playthrough would have to be the same. This last idea is unlikely, but I know it bothered some people, so I'm still going to talk about it. In Brawl's Adventure Mode, there were multiple stories going on at once, with the fighters eventually meeting up and uniting. This is interesting and everything, but it did mean you were forced to play as certain fighters, even if you didn't like playing as them. The only way I could see them resolving this issue is if they made it one storyline. I still prefer Brawl's method since you can learn how character works and get good with them, but I wouldn't mind if they take the approach I just mentioned. And now for the stuff that I have no idea where to put them. That's why they're called extras after all. I discussed custom moves a little bit in the last part, like how custom final smashes would be awesome and they should be way easier to find this time around. And while we still don't have confirmation if custom moves will be a thing, there's actually another point I want to bring up about them: the variety. In Smash 4, every custom move kinda functioned the same. There was the neutral version, one that was more powerful but slower, and one that was weaker but quicker. Sure, there were some exceptions, but for the most part they were all the same. If custom moves make it into Ultimate, I just hope there will be more diversity for them. Hey, maybe some custom moves could be moves characters had in a previous Smash game, like Mario's down B. That's all I have to say about custom moves, but I'm not done with customizability in general. We've seen what the menus look like, and to be honest they look great, but what if we could customize them? I'm not sure how they would do this exactly, but maybe change the color scheme, or have the ability to switch around certain modes, or maybe something like Call of Duty where you can select which mode you want to start as soon as you boot up the game. In the 2 Smash Directs we've had, they've revealed that the order in which you start fights is different. Now you start by setting roles, and then selecting a map, and then choosing your character. I can see why they did this, but I kind of hope you'll be able to have it work like every other Smash game where you choose a character and then the stage. It's not detrimental or anything, and I'll probably adjust to it quickly, but it's just an idea I had. Heck yeah, we're done. This will most likely be the final part of the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Prediction series. Well, not exactly. Once Super Smash Bros. Ultimate releases, I'll make a video explaining everything I got right and wrong, and maybe I'll throw in a couple of predictions I come up with later down the line. But until that time comes, this is Balloon 10, counting down the days until the game finally releases. I'm calling it now. It's gonna be the Bagoat of the series. There, EJ, I made the stupid hasty joke!